Hey guys, it's Colin. You probably just finished watching our Minecraft video, which I gotta say was pretty epic. It was definitely one of the most time-intensive, difficult, awesome experiences of our filmmaking career. Let's start with some of the VFX breakdowns. So the first shot I want to talk about is the pig shot. And now for all these shots that we shot, I mean, you really have to put on your CG goggles. There is crazy amounts of stuff they have to add in that if you saw the shot before, you'd be like, what the heck is that? I'll show you an example. Take a look at this shot. This is a shot that we had of like the pigs as they start to look over at Brian when he picks up the carrot. So what we would do on this shot, for example, is we had to extend the background, and then after that we had to add in the main object pass of the bricks, which we rendered out of 3ds Max. Then we added the ambient occlusions, the contact shadows and all that. And next we had the pigs and a few creepers and some stuff in the distance. And next is the ambient occlusion for the pigs. Some more shadows underneath the main objects rendered out of 3ds Max. The sky replacement, as you can see on the top right. And then the solar flare. And then we had the final color grade. For all the cave shots, we obviously shot on a green screen. And there were two types of cave shots. There were ones where we just shot on a complete stable tripod and then put our rendered sequence from 3ds Max into After Effects. Just re-3D tracked that with a 3D camera tracker and then placed Brian in the scene after we keyed out all the green. And there was one shot in specific where, as you can see, the green screen had X's on it, and we would use that to track the footage later with Buju. And so we could then translate that tracking data into 3ds Max and render out a sequence from there and reinsert it underneath the green screen footage in After Effects. For the shot of Brian throwing the pickaxe, what we did is we originally created the 3D model of the pickaxe in 3ds Max and textured it with standard Minecraft materials, but we didn't end up liking the realism of the render. So what we ended up doing is we took a picture of the Minecraft pickaxe we made in real life, and then we textured that back onto the 3D pickaxe we made in 3ds Max. So that really, I think, helped out the realism in the render, and we also did that for the shot at the end where you see the sword spinning and hit the creeper and blowing up. We also textured our sword picture back onto the 3D sword. For the shot of Brian stabbing the spider and the spider object tracking to the sword, what we did is I took the original sequence, rendered out a JPEG sequence from After Effects, brought it into 3ds Max as a background image sequence, and then I created a dummy object and scaled it to about the sword's size and width. And then I basically, for each frame, I just positioned it and scaled and rotated in 3D space to best match what I thought the sword was doing. So then what happened is I had one spider that was the one that was going to be animated to fall on the sword and then disappear right as the frame it hit the sword, and then I had one spider already on the sword parented to it that appeared right as the other one disappeared. So then it followed the motion of the fake sword I created, which, as you can see in this final shot, I think it looked really sick. So what we did for all the map painting and 3D background stuff, we used a program called JMC to OBJ, which basically it takes your 3D Minecraft world and export it into a 3D model that you can use in almost any 3D program. So we kind of took this, we ran with it, rendered out a few different images that we just kind of used, and half of them we didn't end up doing complete 3D renders for and just used them as a flat image. For the final shot, which is personally one of my favorite VFX shots that I've ever completed, what I did is I had, first of all, as I talked about before, we had the sword textured, which spun in, hit the creeper. We used this thing called FFD controller. It's a 3ds Max modifier. We expanded the edges, which made it look like the creeper was expanding. We also just kind of scaled the X value. And then what we did is we had the crater underneath with a matte shadow material on the outside, which basically it hides all the edges unless you view it from like the right perspective. So after that, what we did is we that basically just appeared the frame it exploded. which was covered up. Pretty much it isn't too hard to tell if the particles aren't there, and I really think the particles are what sell the effect, as you can see in this shot right here. The particles, without the particles right now, watch it, and now with the particles. As you can see in the first shot, you could really just tell it just looked like a huge box just popped up on one frame. But with the particles, it really kind of just took everything to the next level and hid our mistakes. Well guys, that wraps it up. That was the VFX breakdown of Minecraft in Real Life. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. If you have any additional questions, comment down below or email us, ccmecproductions@gmail.com. Peace. Hotmail sucks.